So look, if you want to grow your wealth, your income, and increase the amount of time off, then these are the shortcuts that can help. Welcome to the Wealth Creation Podcast.
Sure. So we've been away, popped over to England for just a few days over this weekend, and that was pretty busy. And pretty good, though, because we managed just to catch up to a whole bunch of stuff, including something that was a bit weird. And we're going to talk about property sourcing soon, by the way. But also something a bit weird. I went and did a viewing on one of my HMOs, and as I walk into the HMO, there on the floor is a half-opened document, like quite a thick document, full of, must have been 75 sheets of paper. And it's from solicitors saying, we're about to sue you, or we're going to sue you, and we're asking for a court date. And I'm like, so I'm reading through what this is. And it turns out that the guy behind needs to put some scaffolding on my HMO. And instead of just spending a whole 3 seconds to find me on social media, it decided to, just checking my name is correct. Yes. And instead of just doing a quick search for 3 seconds, they decided, no, we're not going to do that. Even though I'm everywhere online, I'm simply going to issue court proceedings against me to get this scaffolding up. And it's like, are you people completely stupid? Like, why did it take you so much effort to be able to do the most basic and simple things, like just doing a quick Google search to find my name? So the poor owner of the property behind, now it's got thousands of pounds worth of legal fees. This was sent back in October, so it's 5 months he's had to wait. I got the document. I sent them an email saying, yeah, of course you can have contact. Why didn't you actually just find me online? Anyway, just bizarre, just how people work these days. You know, anything to make money, ripping off this poor owner of the property behind. Absolutely bizarre. Anyway, so I went over to the UK. Really cool. We are moving offices and got all that sort of thing to sort out, as well as collecting all my posts and just remembering why I left the UK in the first place. So that was really good. But in today's session, I want to talk about property sourcing and how to find deals. But not only how to find deals, because property sourcing isn't just about finding deals, is it? It's about finding deals and finding investors and bringing these two parties together. And when these two parties come together and do a transaction, at that point, that's where you're going to make some money, right? And that's what property sourcing is all about, or at least it should be all about, making some money. Some people try this, they never make any money. And if that's one of you, you need to go and get some coaching to find really how to do it, because you can do this. I know you can do this because I can do this. And I'm not the most brightest person on the planet. I get lots of things wrong. And just for sheer tenacity is what keeps me going and is what gets me those results. And you can do that as well. But you just got to keep going. So let's talk about where to find these deals. And the easiest way, and by the way, this is all about marketing. Like, life is 95% marketing. You want to find someone on Tinder or Match.com, you want to go out on a date, you've got to market yourself. You've got to look good, you've got to sound like you know what you're doing, you've got to sound like you're not a mad axe murderer. It's marketing. If you want to find some properties below market value or high yielding properties, you need to look the part. You've got to market yourself. And this is part of the bit where people let themselves down. I was speaking to someone last week and I said, how's your marketing going for finding properties? Are you going out on social media? And we're like, yeah, I posted one post last week. I'm going to do another one this week. I'm like, oh my gosh. Like, and don't get me wrong, the person that was saying it was kind of like a little gentle deer caught in the headlights, if you like. They don't really use social media. It's all brand new to them. And I'm like, dude, you need to be doing this 3 to 5 times a day. Not posting once a week. How do you build credibility if you post once a week? And by the way, if you're posting once a week, it won't be very good because you've got no experience. You don't know what works and what doesn't work. So you've got to get posting. This is all about you looking like an attractive person that is trustable, dependable, that you know what you're talking about. All that stuff is really important. Otherwise, people ain't going to do business with you. And this is what happens. They'll get a leaflet through the door. And if you're not leafleting right now, then you definitely should be leafleting to find property deals. They'll get a leaflet through the door. There's no website address on there. There's just a mobile number. Like, if I get a leaflet, it's just a mobile number. I'm thinking, they've not got a proper office. How long have you even been doing this? It's not a bona fide company. It's just a bloke who's had some leaflets printed. And if I think that, other people are thinking that. So on your leaflet, you need a landline. You do need a mobile. And the really cool thing about mobiles is you can put please text on, because some people got no money. So the only way we can do it on pay as you go is to text, because it doesn't cost them anything. Or please WhatsApp on, insert mobile number, because that way, if I've got WhatsApp and no credit, I can still message people. I can even phone you up and video call you if I've got no credit on WhatsApp. So both of those really need to be on there. But also, you want to get a landline on there. Like I'm in Leeds, so it's an 0113 number. If I've got an 0113 number, I'm not thinking that's my home number. I'm thinking that's probably someone's business. And then what happens is the person who's got a property problem needs to sell quickly. They'll phone up that number. And then usually this is a bit that people get stuck on again. They pick up the phone, gruffly, hello, yeah, what, like, oh my gosh, who've I phoned up? You know, some homeless person who can't help me. Like, it's ridiculous. You've got to sound professional. And the best way of doing that is you not answering your phone. The best way of doing that is having a call answering service answer your phone. That's a really, really good way of doing it. And then you see, if you get 2 phone calls all at the same time, you get both calls answered at the same time. Like going back to 2011, we sold my lettings agency. So we've been in this property business for quite some time, 26 years, in fact. And we've had a lettings agency for maybe 10 of those years, something like that, maybe 8 of those years. But one of the things we did, we were getting 1,500 phone calls a month. Like, think about that for a second. That is a significant amount of phone calls, 1,500 a month. And you might think, well, we'll hire a receptionist. They can sit out front and they can answer the calls. But you know what the problem with a receptionist is? Several problems with having a receptionist, male or female, makes no difference. They get ill, right? So they're going to get ill. And then you need 4 weeks off because they have to have a holiday as well. And then, like these days, not that it existed back then, but these days you've got to pay for their pension and allocate a proportion of their income to your pension as well. But if you have a call centre, 24 hours a day, all calls are answered. If 15 people are all phoning at the same time, then the chances are that you'll get 15 phone calls answered at the same time. You try that on your mobile. Have you ever phoned a plumber? Hello? Yeah, I'm driving. Can you call me back? Literally, that's what happened. Instead of having a professional call centre to answer every single phone call. Now, those 1,500 calls a month cost me 750 quid a month because it was 50 pence a call, 24 hours a day. And we obviously, because we're getting such a volume of phone calls. And think about that. If we'd have had to hire a full-time receptionist, what would that cost us in today's money? 2.5 grand, 3 grand, which is not even that much anymore. Gosh. Minimum wage, let me just do the numbers here. Minimum wage is £12 an hour, starting April. So let's say 40 hours times 52, divided by 12, is £2,000. And plus I've got national insurance that I have to pay my end as well, which is at least another 200 quid. National insurance is going up the start of April yet again. So I could have paid, £2,200, plus there's all the things that you need for that person, like insurance, an office, a desk, a phone, a laptop, all that stuff that a person needs in order to operate and do the jobs, staples, pens, paper, etc. And then, you know, the little kid's ill and then they can't come into work. So you've got that as a choice, or you can spend £750 a month, 1/3 of what it would cost us to have a full-time member of staff, get all your phone calls answered 24 hours a day, and it sounds really professional. Plus, we use that system to qualify people in or out. So they would come through and it'd be a sales call. Can I speak to Dan? We want to sell him some shit. Do you think they got a phone call back? No, absolutely. In fact, the person answering the call would go, you know, he's not going to phone you back, right? So it worked very, very well. And then also we were able to check Bob's phoned and he wants to view this property. It's the 3rd time he's phoned. Like, brilliant. I can go through all the call logs and see this guy's phoned us 3 times to do this viewing. Why have we not booked a viewing with him? Really, really powerful stuff. So having someone to answer your phone call properly is a really good way of doing it. And you should be dropping leaflets. Like, number 1, leaflets. Number 2, increasingly so, is things like Facebook ads and paid advertising. If you know how to do it. We had a guy in Manchester and he wanted a very, very specific client. I'm not going to go into details, but a very specific client owners of large houses. And he had a HMO type of offer that he was going to run to them. I'm not going to give you any more information than that. Can't give it all away, can we? But we were able to target very specifically with very specific language in our Facebook ads that a very specific type of person would fill in that form and want to sell their property, which I know it sounds really dubious, doesn't it? And maybe it was. But we were able to do that running Facebook ads and the advanced targeting features that Facebook has. The problems with Facebook is anyone can just chuck 100 quid at some adverts. There's a real lack of trust. If you've ever been onto Facebook Marketplace, then you will understand the lack of trust. The number of dodgy stuff on Facebook Marketplace is enormous. I saw something last week, and we're trying to sort it out now. At least eBay's got a little bit better with some buyer protection, but you don't have any of that with Facebook, it seems. But Facebook ads have got very low credibility. So if you are running Facebook ads, you need all this extra stuff we talked about at the start of this podcast, all the credibility and all the marketing about you to give you credibility, to make sure that you look like you know what you're doing, that you're trustworthy, that you're credible. All that stuff has to be in place if you're running Facebook ads. So your website or your landing page absolutely has to be really on the point. It has to have actual real life testimonials, video testimonials if you can, because video testimonials, no one's making up a video testimonial, right? A text testimonial, I'll just make this up. Bang. Mrs. Smith said, I'm the most handsome man doing a live stream right now. Oh, thank you very much, Mrs. Smith. Right? It's bullshit. Everybody knows it's bullshit. But a video testimonial, that's quite hard to bullshit, because I know we've got AI coming through now. I saw something on Filmora, and they can take a picture of, and it was a woman, and they just took a picture of her just standing normally, and then they put her climbing up Everest as well. And it was a video made out of AI. Like, that stuff's coming, right? Really amazing stuff. But if you can get someone to actually film a testimonial and put that onto your website, along with other written testimonials or handwritten testimonials, whatever it happens to be, that works really, really well. But again, this is all about credibility. And we see so many people. And I say to people, look, you need to be practicing the talking. Practice. Someone's a vendor, you're the property sourcer, and what are you going to ask that person? What are they going to ask you? And so on. You need to practice that stuff. Stupid Stop Motion asked me if I'd like to learn more about Scientology. Thanks for that. Somebody likes poutine. Very good. The comments are usually pretty rubbish, aren't they? Anyway. That's fine. So you've got to build credibility, and you have to be in a position where people are going to look at you and talk to you, and they think, gosh, this person can help me. You don't want to get into a conversation asking them about, why you're selling your house, and that person thinks, this person can't help me. They don't know what they're talking about, because you're not confident in the language that you use. You absolutely have to get really confident with the language that you are using with the vendors who've got a property problem. And if you can't do that, they're not going to sell through you, right? Because they don't trust you. Massive part of why property sources fail is because they can't build enough trust with the person selling their house, right? So leaflets are really good, Facebook ads are really good, but you've got to build that credibility. So talking about visibility, you've got to be in front of as many people as you can, because ultimately, that's all marketing is. It's how many people can see your stuff. That's it. How many eyeballs are on your message? Obviously, we can get into messaging. Do you need to sell your house fast? Are you going through a separation or a divorce? Have you been left a property? All these hooks, as we call them, things that go, oh, I'm getting a divorce. That's what I need. Oh, yeah, I have been left a house. That's what I need. Yes, I am emigrating to Australia. That's exactly what I need. What a remarkable coincidence of luck on that Facebook ad or that leaflet. So you've got to talk to your target audience, but you've got to be visible. And all marketing is really about you being in front of as many people as possible. Ideally, a targeted audience, people who do want to sell, who've gone on Rightmove, for example, or typed into Google Rightmove in Leeds or something, how to sell my home in Leeds. You can run Google ads based on that in a very specific area, and you can run Facebook ads as well, but you have to be visible. And of course, being visible is only one aspect. You have to be credible, because without that level of credibility, you ain't doing anything. You're not persuading anybody if you're not credible. If you can't walk the walk, it always reminds me of David Brent, vis-a-vis talk the talk. If you can't talk about property and be confident about it, you're going to fall at the first hurdle. So you've got to practice with some friends, your partner, somebody else's partner, an estate agent, a property networking event. You've got to go out and practice with other people, because if you can practice these words coming out of your mouth, then you're going to get really good at it. And the person speaking to you is going to believe you know what you're talking about. Even though you might not, they believe it. And that's the important bit. Let's talk about investors and vendors. So there's a whole process here of qualifying these people in or out. So, you know, we get a lot of tire kickers. We get people filling in a Facebook form, for example, going, oh, I just want a valuation. That's all they want. And obviously our valuations are going to be lower than an estate agent, right? So then, knowing that our valuation is going to be lower than a estate agent, 20%, 25%, 30%, depends on the house, depends on all sorts of reasons why we want to sell. You know, you have to handle that objection early on. Because if you go, you know, it's a $100,000 house and you go, well, you're probably looking at 70. If you do that on the phone, you've lost, right? Because we're going to get an estate agent round, and they've already looked on Rightmove, and they're going, well, estate agent told me I'll get 120 for it. And you're offering me 70, because estate agents do that, right? I know they're not supposed to, but of course they do. On a property worth 100, oh, it's definitely worth 120, Mrs. Smith, when actually it's probably not. So that's what they do in order to win the business. But you've got to be able to objection handle, such as, you know, 1/3 of all sales will fall through. Sometimes it takes 6 months for a sale to fall through. Like, how would that impact you? You know, like, I know you're relying on this money coming in because you've got all these debts and you can't afford your mortgage and you lost your job. And I get all that. But can you really afford to wait 6 months for a deal, then a sale to fall through? Or if we can buy it now, we can agree upon a price and we can complete in like 2 weeks. As long as you can complete in 2 weeks, as long as you know how to complete in 2 weeks. The quickest we've completed, I think, was 7 or 8 days, if memory serves. You need to know how to be able to do that. But if you do know how to do that, that's a great little opportunity to get into a conversation. And, you know, if someone's going bankrupt or we've got bailiffs at the door, it can be a conversation around, you know, if we could solve this problem for you, pay off any outstanding debt, clear off your mortgage, and just get you onto the straight and narrow again. Like, could you really wait 6 months for this property sale to fall through? Is it, you know, if you risk that and it falls through, you've lost everything, you couldn't be classed as bankrupt. Is that really what you want? And they might go, well, I'll roll the dice and I'll just take the risk. And they might take that risk, and that's fine if they do decide to take that risk. But not everybody's going to want to do that. Nice. So you've got to be qualifying vendors when they come through. And obviously you need to practice the words coming out of your mouth, which was said, but you've got to be qualifying them. Some qualifying questions are, why are you selling? Have you tried to sell it before in the last 6 months? Have you had it valued? And then they might go, yes, I've had it valued and it's worth $100,000. The estate agent's told me. Okay, why am I here then? That is you qualifying the person. Why am I here? Why have you not put it on the market? When was that? 6 months ago. Okay, obviously prices change now, go up and down because it's fluid. But you've waited 6 months and you've not sold it and you've not had it on with the estate agent. Why am I here? What, you know, there's something going on that this person's not quite telling me. And the reason why they're not telling me yet, by the way, is because I've not built enough rapport with them. We can go into a whole bunch of NLP stuff here, but this is where the coaching comes in, the group coaching. And links down below for that. But this is where all this stuff comes in, and it's really, really useful. If you know, you can get anyone to do anything, anyone to say anything, if you've built up enough rapport. You can ask any question of any person on the planet if you've built enough rapport with them. And if you've not built up enough rapport with them, then they are not going to release the information that's going to be vital to you getting this deal across the line. So you've got to be qualifying the vendors. Plus, when you're then, you know, let's say you agree a price and you agree a sale, then you're going to go sell it to an investor. Then you have to work out, what is this investor? Have they got money? How are you going to qualify the investor? And if you don't know how to do that, the investor is going to run rings around you and the sale is going to fall through. You're going to lose this deal because they'll take 3 or 4, 5, 6 months not to buy something, and the vendor who's now in court and about to be made bankrupt is being made bankrupt because you didn't qualify the investor properly. Like, it's a very big effect that you can have on other people's lives if you get this wrong. This is why the training is so important. And then just finally on this, let's talk about getting a deal across the line. The number of times that I see people and they've got a sale, right? They've got a deal, and they never get it across the line. It's one of the hardest bits to do. Finding a deal, that's hard enough. Finding an investor, that's hard enough. Getting both of those together and getting a deal across the line, so everybody, they get to sell, they get to buy, and you get to make the piece of pie in the middle. That's really hard to do, is getting these sales across the line. So you've got to really understand the sales process, and you've got to communicate well with both parties, and just to step in. When I owned my lettings agency, we sold quite a lot of properties as well. So we were an estate agent and a lettings agency, but primarily a lettings agency. And one of the things I would do is every single week I'd phone the vendor and I'd phone the buyer and I'd speak to their solicitors via email. Where are we up to? What's outstanding? What's the ETA? Both sides looking for a quick completion. That used to help massively. And we would get an increased number of deals across the line. When we didn't do that, deals would fall through for all sorts of reasons. Solicitors haven't spoken to each other for 3 months. Like, crazy stuff. You think solicitors would know better, right? You would think. But unfortunately, you'd think wrong. So you've got to get this lined up and in place in order to get these deals across the line. And if you can do that, then you're going to be successful as a property sourcer. If you can't do that, then you're really going to struggle making any money off these deals. Let's just put this into a quick summary. You've got to go out and find some deals. Where are you going to find them? Leaflet drops, Facebook ads, Google ads, that kind of thing. You've got to be visible, and the whole purpose of being visible is that you're building credibility, and people get to believe that you are who you say you are, that you're knowledgeable, that you're trustworthy, that you're credible. You've also got to qualify your vendors. You've got to qualify your investors, and a great way of qualifying investors is, have you got cash? Yes, I've got cash. Great. Let me see your bank statement. Oh, no, I can't see my bank statement. Right. Okay. Well, you've not got cash then, as far as I'm concerned. You've got to get that in place. Plus, NDAs, non-disclosure agreements, really important. And then finally, you've got to communicate with both sides in order to get these deals across the line. All right, that will do us for today. Hope you find that useful, and we'll catch up with you on the next one.
Hey, it's Dan here. Thank you for listening. Really appreciate each and every one of you. Please click like or subscribe to the entire podcast.